Welcome to my YouTube channel, English Online Teacher for the class 10th, 11th and 12th. Today, let's look at the line-by-line explanation of the chapter, The Last Lesson from class 12th English. If you are watching my video for the first time, don't forget to press the bell icon so that you can get notified whenever I upload a video. Let's move on the video now. The Last Lesson is written by Alphonse Daudet. About the author, Alphonse Daudet was a French novelist and a short story writer. The Last Lesson is set in the day of the Franco-Prussian War, in which France was defeated by Prussia, led by Bismarck. Prussia then consisted of what now are the nations of Germany, Poland, and parts of Austria. In this story, French districts of Alsace and Lorraine have passed into Prussian hands. Read this story to find out what effect this had on life at school. Now, before moving on the lesson, let's look at the meaning of these expressions. In a great dread of, which means fearful in anticipation of something, that means frightened of something. Counted on means to rely or trust on somebody or something. Thumped at the edges, which means wound and soil it just caused by frequent handling. For an example, you can see the corner of the pages of the book or textbooks which keep on turning the pages and the effect it has on the edges of the pages. In unison means something happening and being done at the same time, that means together. A great bustle, which means an excited activity or a rapid activity, commotion. Usually it is accompanied by a lot of noise or confusion, etc. Reproach ourselves with, to express disapproval, criticism or disappointment, that means to have a feeling or regret or sorry, etc. So let's moving on the lesson now. So as we know that the French in districts of Lorraine and Alsace have passed down into the Prussian hands. So what is the effect that was caused because of this? Let's jump into it. I started for school very late that morning and was in great dread of scolding, especially because M. Hamel had said that he would question us on participles. So that speaker or the narrator is saying that he had already started very late for the school and he was in great dread of scolding, and he was afraid that he would really get scolding by his teacher M. Hamel, and had said that he would question us on participles. Participles means some French grammar, and I did not know the first word about them. So he said that he was so frightened because he did not know anything about it. He was not ready for it, so he was afraid to go to the school, fearing that he would get scolding from his teacher. For a moment I thought of running away and spending the day out of doors. For a moment, what he did think, let me try and go away and get away from school. Let me not to go to the school and let me spend my time somewhere outside. So that narrator is a little boy named Franz. So he is saying that he was afraid to go to school because he had not learned the participles. So somehow he wanted to run away from the class and wanted to escape from the school. It was so warm, so bright. So that outside was so tempting. It was looking so warm and bright. The birds were chirping at the edge of the woods and in the open field back of the sawmill. The Prussian soldiers were drilling. So he saw that there were birds chirping around in the forest and in the open field behind the sawmill. He saw this Prussian soldiers were drilling. Drilling means doing their regular practice. So since the Prussian had taken over, he could see the Prussian soldiers were drilling or undergoing some practice there. So he wanted to stop there and wanted some fun looking at these beautiful sights. It was all much more tempting than the rule for participles. So he said that these beautiful sights of the birds chirping and the soldiers practicing, it was more interesting and tempting than the participles. Tempting means attracting or fascinating or to induce to do something. But I had the strength to resist and hurried off to school. But he resisted his temptation to go and watch these birds or these soldiers, and then he went off to school. He hurried off to school. That means he started walking fast to school. When I passed the town hall, there was a crowd in front of the bulletin board. So on his way to school, there was a town hall, and there is always bulletin board there from where they can get to read all news. For the last 2 years, all our bad news had come from there. The lost battle, the draft, the orders of the commanding officer. So he is saying that the bulletin board that is there in front of the town hall was the place from where they used to get all bad news, especially for the last 2 years. All the bad news had come from there. And what are the bad news about? It could be about the lost battle and draft, the orders of the commanding officer, etc. I thought to myself without stopping. So he thought, what could be in this time? Why these people? Why they are standing in front of the bulletin board? What can be the matter now? And then he started thinking to himself, what is the news is all about? Why people are standing in front of the bulletin board? Then, as I hurried by fast as I could go, the blacksmith worker who was there with his apprentice reading the bulletin called after me, "Don't go so fast, bub. You will get to your school in plenty of time." As he was thinking, and as he was hurrying past the bulletin board, the blacksmith, he was standing there with his apprentice. Apprentice means a trainee who is learning a trade from the skilled employer or working with them, standing or reading the news. And he immediately see this boy and called him. And what did he say? "Don't go so fast, bub." Bub means a little boy. And he said, you will get school in a plenty of time, so you have enough time to go to school. So there is no need to hurry. So this is what blacksmith told little Franz. I thought he was making fun of me, and reached M. Hammel's little garden all out of breath. So he thought that the blacksmith was actually making fun of him because he was late and he was hurrying to school. But then he hurried to school, and finally he reached the school garden, which was owned by M. Hamel, his teacher, or which was looked after by this teacher. Usually when school began, there was a great bustle, which could be heard out in the street, the opening and closing of desks, lessons repeated in unison, very loud, with our hands over our ears to understand better, and the teacher's great ruler rapping on the table. So what is Franz saying here? Usually when he reaches school, he could actually hear a great bustle. That means there used to be a lot of noise, and that could be heard in the street outside. And what made these noise? The opening and closing of desks by the children, lessons repeated loudly together, and the children had to keep their hands over the ear of understand what is happening better, and the teacher great ruler rapping on the table. So all these were the different kind of bustles that people could hear usually when the classes were going on. But now it was also still. Now friends saying that it was all so still. Still means it is all very quiet. I had counted on the commotion to get my desk without being seen. He had planned that when there is a lot of noise because he is already late, he thought he could quietly get inside the class amidst this noise, but then it was also quiet. But of course, that day everything had to be as quiet as Sunday morning. But for him, as he reached the school, he saw that it was as quiet as Sunday morning. Through the window, I saw my classmates already in their places. When he looked inside the classroom, he was surprised because he saw that his classmates were already in their places, and M. Hamel walking up and down with his terrible iron ruler under his arm. Now he also saw that his teacher was also there, and he held his iron rod under his arm, and he was just walking back and forth. I had to open the door and go in before everybody. So he had to take the door itself and go inside the class when everybody was watching him. So you can imagine how I blushed and how frightened I was. So you can imagine that he says how I blushed. Why did he blush? He was feeling ashamed because he was already late, and he was also frightened that he thought that his teacher would scold him. But nothing had happened. But actually nothing had happened. He did not receive any such kind of scolding which he was thinking. M. Himmel saw me and said very kindly, "Go to your place quickly, little Franz." So his teacher noticed him and told him very kindly, "Go to your place, or go and sit your place." Little Franz was so amazed because he was expecting a scolding. But then his teacher was speaking very kindly to him. "We were beginning without you." So his teacher told him, "We were about to start the lesson without you, and thank God you have come on time." I jumped over the bench and sat down at my desk. So he was feeling quite satisfied and took his place. Not till then, when I had got a little over my fright, did I see that our teacher had on his beautiful green coat, his frilled shirt, and the little black silk cap, all embroidered, that he never wore except on inspection and prize days. So what happened when he took his place, and when all his fear had disappeared? What did he see? He noticed something different about his teacher. What did he notice? He was dressed in a very different manner. And what was his dress? He wore a beautiful green coat, and he wore a frilled shirt, and he also was wearing a black silk cap, all embroidered. And he said this dress he never wore except on inspection and prize days. That means he wore a special dress only on special days. So little Franz thinking about the special day. So I hope you liked the video. let's look at the second part of the lesson in my next video. For more informative videos, do subscribe my channel, like and share. Thank you for watching.